Hey, what's up YouTube? Sky Badger here, and we're back towards the end of day 41. So we're still on top of the leaderboard. France is slowly climbing again, and he'll continue to climb as he moves up through America. So if we have a look at what's happening at the moment, just by what I just said before, France is doing some work in America. So that's what there is to expect. We have since moved our navy back, got some more destroyers, got a stronger air force, and I've sent these guys out here to patrol and hopefully kill that. And I'm just gonna send these aircraft on a patrol back here, and I'll just park up under there and take out those aircraft. So France has got a foothold, and that is pretty good. I don't believe that the Americans will be able to shake our grasp without putting a lot of troops into it, and quite frankly, from what I've seen, I wouldn't be overly surprised if Southern United States isn't actually that active. He's clearly active because he's still part of the game, but I don't get the impression that he's here all the time. So that's going well. Soon this big group of troops will move in and they'll be all good. Shouldn't have too much of a trouble dealing with that. It doesn't have much anti-air capabilities, so it should be pretty easy going. So in terms of what's happening around on the rest of the map, we are slowly but surely building up our forces and getting these units down here to the numbers they should be. I'm trying not to build troops too far away because it's hard to remember when you build troops far away where you intended to send them. So I'm building them pretty close to the front so that I remember where to send them. That's why. So if we just quickly come back into here and start producing another anti-tank, and from here more artillery, and then we move back over into Turkey. Oh yeah, so I got this naval group down here, just keeping it moving, not really moving it for any reason. There was an Egyptian convoy of free infantry that was heading up here. Now, based on the track it was taken, unless he did it for the purpose of throwing us off, and he may have known that he was being tracked, he went up here and was heading this way. Now, based on the course he took when he came out of here, if he was going to mine France's core, he would have hugged up around the edge of Spain, then come into here. Well, based on the course he's taken, he's come up here, he's gone this way, and then last place I tracked him, he was heading this way. Now, my guess is he's going up here, so I sent my subs along this route to scout it out. Hopefully at midday though, when my spies bring in their intel, I'll have more of an idea of where he's gone. So due to the amount of money I've had to downsize my spying operation. As you can see, I've got 9 spies inactive. So this is what it looks like at the moment. I'm still going for intel and military saboteurs. So that gives me a good idea of what things are like for him. He's one of the few players at the moment that actually has oil to spare. He is so lucky, but he doesn't have much money. But all round, he has a pretty good economy and heaps of resources. But I get the feeling that because he doesn't have the same infrastructure built up that the rest of us do, he's relying on a high level of morale to keep production high. As we can see from clicking around his core provinces and stuff, he doesn't actually have much infrastructure in oil provinces and food provinces and stuff like that. It's pretty downplayed. Well, if we have a look at my core, which I have been building up a lot recently, I have a lot more stuff built, higher production, and that really goes a long way. So while we're over here at the moment, we may as well point out that I have built a few railguns. I'm testing a few of the new, well not new, the new features to the secret units, so the extended range on some of them, better damage. These can do damage against ships now, which is pretty good too. You can outrange anything, so just park it up on land, bring some ships in close, fire away. I'll also make them a pretty good weapon against convoys. I've also built some rocket fighters. After the update, they received a boost to their range, and I feel that this has really made them way more useful than they ever were before. Although I still feel as though interceptors might still be the better option. So what I'm going to do at some point is I'm going to, actually I'll get started now. I'm going to grab an interceptor, not even a max level interceptor, and I'm going to send it all the way up to here if it wants to go, which it does not appear as though it does. What's up with that? Let's try that again. So it's okay. There's no surrounding air bases, so it can't actually offload. So once I can, I'm going to send that interceptor all the way up to the same province as these rocket fighters, and then I'm going to have a race from one place to the other. And what I expect to find is that although these can go a lot faster at 900 kilometers per hour versus the interceptors, which can only at the level 4 go 645, I expect to see that due to the range difference, the interceptors might actually get around the map a lot faster. And while that's not necessarily the argument for why most people use them, I still want to test it because to me, being able to get aircraft around the map fast is what their main use is. I use them to cover ground that's unprotected by infantry and to support attacks. The range is also another good thing when you're counter-attacking enemy aircraft that may be landing at air bases way out of your reach. But at the moment, I think that there's definitely now a place in my heart for the rocket fighter. I still think militia is a pretty horrible unit, but at least now I think the rocket fighter has proven itself. I'll see how it goes in these tests, but for the time being, I'm pretty happy with how it's looking. So with that said, railguns, or railroad guns to be more correct. What I'm going to do with these is I'm going to build up a few of them, build up 2 groups of 3, so 6 in total, and then I'm going to send them down to Africa with some anti-air, and I'll use them to basically bomb out Egyptian positions. Because Egypt, from what I've seen in the past, likes to keep all of its troops in big groups, and if I just have some big artillery, I should be able to deal to them just fine, as long as they have anti-air, because he also has a lot of anti-air. So with that said, there's not really much more to say. In terms of research at the moment, I'm researching some armor and some infantry. I've neglected to upgrade my ground forces for quite some time now, so I'm going to spend at least the next 2 research slots upgrading these. Next I'm going to go to level 4 light tanks, and I'll also get level 2 SPAA, just so I can get some more speed down there. So hopefully with that done, my ground troops will be able to perform again at the standard they need to. I may even get artillery level 3. I should probably actually get that because I rely a lot on artillery. So that's where research is going, and then after that I'm going to come back to here and carry on researching my way down to the nuclear rocket. At this point I really don't see any use for the nuclear rocket. It is great at taking out massive units. I'm not the type of guy that uses rockets against buildings. I don't think they actually do that much damage, so I target them at bigger units. It's also worth noting that France has started to work on his navy, and while he doesn't have quite the power that I do, it's still worth to keep an eye on him. Egypt as well is building up quite a large naval group down here that I actually ought to go investigate once I get these airplanes, that 1 interceptor, off and back to England. So once that's done, I'm going to come down to here and investigate what I'm seeing with that naval group. If we have a look at this stuff down here, you know, he's building a destroyer, tactical bombers, building battleships, more destroyers, and that sort of stuff there. And at the moment he does actually have a stronger air force than me, which is worth noting. But the thing is, I do have a lot of anti-air laying around with 2 units per stack. That definitely makes hitting these ground targets a bit of a trade-off, because defending with 12 plus combined the rest of the units, I'm probably defending with about 16. So every 2 times he attacks one of these units, he's going to lose a tactical bomber. And all I'm going to do is I'm probably actually thinking about upgrading these and giving each of these another anti-air piece as well. So that kind of negates the effect of his air force, and with the amount of rocket fighters I plan to produce, it's only going to get even harder. So I'm going to come into here right now and produce another one. So I'll have 5 by the time I produce the next video. And I aim to get up to 10. And then that way I'm definitely unable to send them away like my other interceptors, which are over in America at the moment. So let's just have a look at how this is going. So that hasn't quite yet finished its first rotation, but it will do soon. With the latest update though, you have to be really careful. Oh, damn, we're not on range to hit it. You have to be really careful with your ships because artillery can now do a fair bit of damage. So, 1.6 damage against a destroyer, it's definitely taking its toll and the effect is noticeable. So, you just have to be careful about that. Although the rate it's going at the moment, that won't be in effect for much more longer because I will kill it. So, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next episode.